we're talking about these 9 essentials, and we've got 2 of them down. I
Right.
think if you have them down, it really helps this next point of culture.
Right.
But I also think that culture should also, in some ways, define or at least impact your mission, because how you do something really does matter, and the culture that you create is something that will impact how something is done. Um,
Oh,
I always think
absolutely.
that a culture, I think of it before doing like a culture statement or like that, I just think of values. And oftentimes we have invisible words for values like integrity that doesn't really show up. But more importantly, we have these idealistic values sometimes that aren't actually true. We think they sound good. We think they're something that we want to achieve and be like. But I think if you're really going to take a hard look at your values, you've got to look at, how you spend your time, your energy, where you pay attention to, what you pay attention to, and how you truly act on a day-to-day basis. And in terms of like personal values, if I sit here and say, health is one of my values, but I just order pizza all day and drink beer nonstop, it's probably not true. I need to look at how I'm actually spending my time. Maybe entertainment or maybe pleasure is one of my values, right?
Right.
So I think the same thing goes for a company. Yeah, we all can write down a list of values that we have, but make sure that you're actually living up to them, because then if you don't, your
Well,
culture's really just on a piece of paper. It's not in real life.
Enron is becoming in the distant past, but I wish I had
Enron.
looked at it before if people remember, they were the snakes out in California that wiped out their investors.
Yeah.
But Ken Lay was the president, and there's a photograph of him being led out of his offices in handcuffs, and over his shoulder is a sign that says integrity, trust, and something else. I wish I'd looked. I can't remember, but it's perfect. I mean, he's got his values on the wall, and they're cuffing him and taking him out in stark contrast
Yeah.
to because he lived exactly the opposite. And values, a culture is a list of values, and you have a culture in your business. If there are more than 2 of you, probably even if they're just 2, you have a culture. The question is, did it happen to you or did you create it? Okay. Whenever you get 3 people together, there's going to be a culture rise out of that.
Yeah.
And it could, by luck, be that you have the perfect people you're all aligned. They like the vision. They do have your same values, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. And that might happen by chance. But you might also find out that you got a real snake in the woodpile out there who's stirring everything up and causing problems with your customers and fellow employees and things like that because they don't have your values. And even if they have their values, the priorities matter too. So Brian Tracy gives an example one time that somebody might have the values of family, health, and professional or personal finances, becoming wealthy. Another person might have those same values, but personal wealth, honesty, and family in that order. And they're going to be completely different people, right? So what your values are, it gives some thought to writing them down. And you talked about integrity as being a value that can be one of those
Invisible words.
invisible words. You can make it visible if integrity is one. It's not hideous. I mean, it's not hideous, but
Sure.
what does it mean? You have to develop in your culture statement what that means, and it can be integrity. And then a bullet point under that, we do what we say we will do by the time we said we would do
Yeah.
it. The next bullet point, if that's not possible, I communicate immediately, right? So you define what integrity is for you, and you don't just stick them on the wall. You have to have employee meetings and staff meetings where you discuss the different values that you have listed.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned it already, or you did before, that a value statement with 35 values on it is probably not very meaningful.
No.
4 or 5 should capture it, the most important to you.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to be sure to mention in this, because I never see this, or, well, yeah, I never see it, is part of your values, maybe you combine these two, but one is profit and the other is personal accountability. In other words, I exist. If I'm at your company, I'm here to do a job and I'm going to do it. It's not just all la, we love each other and we want to take care of people. And yes, I'm honest. No, profit. I love to see profit in a value statement. And you can say, well, that's good. Ooh, bad. No, it's not bad. Some of the things that I wrote under profit in mind is I understand that profit earned through free and honest transaction not only is moral, but also imperative. I understand that profit is validation of the fact that we successfully served our customers, our company, and ourselves and society in general. So you can list those things, but if part of your values, I'm going to say should be that you make a profit, because if whatever your altruistic desires are, you can't do it if you don't make a profit.